Before we wrap up this JavaScript module, we're going to create something like this. This is a perfect transparent 3D working calculator. You can see how it works. 78 multiplied by 1, that is 78. You can clear, that's where you enter number. You can see how it works. It was perfect. 26 plus 1 is 27. Minus 5 is 22. Minus 2 is 20. And multiply by 0 is 0. 0 plus 100 is 100. So the calculator is working fine. 100.5 multiplied by 2 should be 201. So everything in the calculator is working. You can see all the keys, all the numbers, the operators, mathematical, everything is working. So we're going to see how I coded this or I programmed this. So let's start by bringing our templates. I use Visual Studio Code, which I'll be using since throughout the module. So I'll start by writing a div. The div, I have a class. Call the first class boss. You can call it anything you remember. Then inside the div, I have a form. With a name in opening tag called calculator. So inside the form, I have an input, the first input. Then the ID is screen. The screen is where you're going to see the letters and the mathematical operation. Then I have a name. The name, I call it display. Then there's a placeholder which I name enter number. You can use your own name, but make sure you follow the step. So let's see how it looks like so far. I visit the web page. So this is it. So we can type something on the screen. So you know what BR means? I've learned that on HTML. That's breakline. So I have another input. Type is button. Then I have an ID. Let me call the ID number or number. But here I use a short form NUM. Then I have a value. That value is 7. Then the on-click function here, I use btn 7. I use it in such a way that I can identify each one. So but you can use your own. So let me duplicate this. There are so many places. So we're going to have from 7, 8, 9. But this is supposed to be 4. So I have to increase it to 4. I'll do the same thing in the other ones. So I have 7, 8. I'll also write that on click 8 or button 8. The short form of button which some programmers use while programming is btn, but you can use yours. So I have 7, 8, 9, then plus. This should be 4, 5, 6, then minus. Then minus. This 1, 2, 3. Then multiplication. So I'm going to have same key again to complete the remaining. Which should be 0. Then that is module, they call it module. Then dot and the divide. That's 0. Mod. I think it should be modulus. Dot and divide. So we need the 2 button again for clear and equal to. It's clear. So the ID here is equal and this one is clear, while the other IDs are the same. So let's see how it looks as we continue. So this is the skeletal structure using HTML for our calculator. So nothing is working yet, just how it looks like. So here I'm going to add the Css Style Sheets. Start by margin equal to 0, padding equal to 0, and then box sizing, border box. Font family, you can use your own here. This area having tone, sans serif, then serif. Then the body, that is this. That's the access of the body. Then display flash. Justify content, center, align items, center as well. Mean height, 200 view height. So this is how it looks like. So we'll still continue adding our CSS properties and values. So let's add for this class called the canvas. Can call it anything, so it doesn't matter the name, but make sure you get it right. So position here as a relative, weight, for 80 ps, the height 540 ps. Border 2 ps, solid, this is the color I'm going to use. Use your own color, please. Border shadow, I'm going to use this. Then the alpha is 0.6. So let's see how it looks like now. Good. That is nice. Remember, this is a class, that's why I must go with dots. So we're defining the div class cowboys relative to form, because form is a child, direct child of div. So position of the form is absolute. Then the background color, because you can choose your own color as well. Let me use this. That should be background, sorry, not background color. Just background. Let me change the value a little bit. Then border reduce to make the corner circle a little bit. So let's define this ID. Our input for display screen. Let's define the ID there. ID starts with hash. Same way class starts with dot. So our screen should be 450 weight. Then the height should be 80 pixels. Text align right. Remember, our calculator always starts from right. Some, if not almost all the calculator. The font size 3 EM. I've discussed EM before during the introduction of CSS. Border color dark green. Can change this to your own color, please. So let's include margin here. Margin 10 ps. So let's see how it looks like. Okay, something great is happening here. Please, if you are watching this on YouTube, there's a link to my course where you can get it fully. I teach HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and creation of websites in general. But if you are watching it as my student, my course, you are in the right place and you are good to go. So let's add CSS for num. Remember, the ID num covers many inputs. So width here is 108, y height is 80, the margin 4 ps, reduce 10 ps. Text align center. Background color. Width. Box shadow. Minus 2 ps. Minus 2 ps. You can use your own color, please. Then 2 ps, 2 ps. We're done box shadow. Remember what we did there? I'll be a comma here, otherwise it won't work. Let's save and see how it look like. Okay, something good is also happening here, and we're progressing. So let's add font size 3M. Here you can see the letters are now bigger. So I'm going to add the CSS to this and that separately. Though two of them are similar. The first one is equal when the second one is clear. Two to 6 pairs. Height 80 pairs. Margin 9 ps. Background, I use blue as for sign of equality. You can also use green. The choice is yours here. Font size 3M. Text align center. So I'll copy the box shadow here and drop it here, then change the color. I'll also copy all this. For this one, this ID called clear. I'll change this to clear, then change the color. So once you are done, satisfied with the color, you can have a look at the page again at our 3D calculator. So we just created the JavaScript file called the calculator. We'll call it calculator. Or the format is JS. So we'll start by writing our code. Start by function. Then we'll use the onClick function. First one is a btn7. We'll put it here. Then we'll write our document this time around. We're going to write our document with calculator. This name calculator here dot display. Then this display here. Then dot value plus equal to seven. Remember the first letter there is 7. Then semicolon. We're going to copy and paste this into 4 different places. The same way we did in HTML. Then we replace it with button 8, button 9, and then minus. So this should be button 8. Then this should be button 9. The last one is a button plus. Make sure you get them straight, you get them correct. Don't make a mistake, otherwise it'll affect the whole thing, because they are creating the calculator. So each each code must work, each code must agree to the other ones for a work. So this is 7, 8, 9, then plus. So this time around we're going to do the same thing with the remaining ones. We're going to have button 4, 5, 6 minus. Then minus. Do the same thing on the function. The button 4. Button 5. Then button 6. This is a btn minus. So we'll check and continue the same way. This is 1, 2, 3. Then button times. Write it 1, 2, 3. Then times. So change this also, this times, and destroy these two, while this is 1. So we'll do the same thing with the remaining ones. The remaining ones will have a 0% dot and the divide. That percent is called the modulo. Percent dot and the divide. So change button as well. Then we're going to do the remaining 2. As for equal and clear. Equal and clear. We change the function at the bottom there. Make sure it's the same thing you use as the ID and the unclick button. Be careful when you copy and paste code. Avoid them picking up some mistake or some errors. So the equal document dot letter dot displays difference. We're going to have a valve. Then bracket. We'll pass the same thing to the bracket. So that's how the equal function works. So the clear button only has a equal sign, not plus equal. So let's say our calculator works. So our calculator is working. The next thing we're going to do is we work on the background. The calculator is working normal. I've succeeded in creating calculator. So I want to make the background transparent. So first of all, let's change the screen color and give it something nice. So I think it's better now. You can use your own color, but I like this one. So let's work on the background. So we're going to remove the body background. When we do that, we'll save and watch how the calculator will look like. You can see it's now whitish. That's the default background. Then we'll now choose a background. You are this time around. Then we'll check the image you are going to pass to this. I'll use this one. Well, let's view the calculator once more. Well, this image background, but it's repeated, so I want it with no repeat. For background no repeat, view it again. Good. Well, this is the image. So let's bring it to center. So background position should be center. We check the calculator again. Good. You can see our background image is on the center of the calculator. So let's add the background size. We're going to use auto first. View our calculator once more. So let's add length. And the length here is 800 ps by 800 ps. Then save. Good. We have our perfect calculator with a nice transparent background. So that is how it's done. Also then creating calculator and adding some nice features. Our calculator is working perfect. That is it. Thank you as we continue with other ones.